Hello, everybody. My name is Mike Pegg, and I lead the developer relations team for Google Maps platform here at Google. And we're really excited to be here with you today. I have some members of the team here. We're going to answer some questions, have a little bit of fun. So I've introduced myself. I'll hand it over to Alicia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Sullivan. I'm the product manager for cloud-based map styling. Thames, go ahead.
My name is Thames Sookpranee. I'm the engineering lead on cloud-based map styling for Google Maps platform.
And I'm Travis McPhail. I'm the engineering lead for Maps on the Google Maps platform, and really looking forward to answering your questions today.
Thank you, Travis, and thank you, Thames and Alicia. We'll get started here. First of all, hope you're having a great I/O. We're here on day 2, kind of closing out day 2. So I won't say afternoon because I know some, if not most, watching are not in an afternoon sort of time frame right now. So yeah, let's dive in. We've got some great questions from a number of you that have posted. We're really excited to dive in here. So let's get started with the first question. This one comes from Ben, and he asks, is there a way to dynamically set map IDs so that styling can change without having to reload the whole map? And maybe Thames, did you want to take this one?
Yeah, I can take this one. Thank you, Ben, for your question. We love to hear more about your use case, and please feel free to use the public issue tracker to help us learn more about it. So for those of you who don't know, map ID is basically the identifier that you create from the Cloud Console that serves pretty much as a link between your map object in your apps to the map style that you manage in the cloud. And this makes, this allows you to push style changes without changing any code. To Ben's question, the map ID is deeply integrated with the map object lifecycle. So currently we don't yet support dynamically switching map ID on a single map object. And we understand that this dynamic use case would open up a lot of new uses of our service, and we're aware of that, and we're exploring how we can meaningfully help you achieve some of your use cases. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Thames. We'll move on to the next question that comes from Maria. In the WebGL talk, you acknowledged that WebGL can be pretty complicated to work with. Are you working on anything else to make using WebGL with maps easier? Travis, is it difficult to work with WebGL?
So I'm a graphics person, so I'm going to have a mixed answer there. So on one hand, yes, it can be complex, but the benefits are magnificent in the process. So thank you, Maria, for your question. We are working very much on WebGL state transition work, especially when it comes to making sure that there is great compatibility between 3D graphics libraries like 3JS and our JavaScript Maps API. So we are continually refining GL state transitions there. And we're also working on an OSS 3D marker library, which should be coming very soon because this is a very common UI pattern that we really want to make easy for developers.
Cool. I'm going to ask you a follow-up question, Travis. You said that you're a graphics person and you find there's a benefit to it. What is that? What's that moment when you're working within, let's say WebGL? But what's that moment where you're working with something and you do feel that benefit? At what point in the cycle would you say that comes?
So I feel that benefit immediately, like just as I've have a background in special effects and gaming, and it's always been a desire to be able to move the Google Maps experience beyond this top-down kind of 2D north-up base map that everyone knows and loves and has a lot of utility for developers around the world. But just being able to, the second that you really break open that tilt and rotation barrier and start to assess and like leverage the power of like the programmatic camera control, you really start to feel that this is a different type of base map experience than what you're accustomed to, at least on the web. And then couple that with just WebGL overlays, you really have the power to really bring 3D content directly to the same base map that you use every day in just your daily use of maps like google.com.
Totally agree. And I think without tilt and rotation, you literally only see one dimension, to what you're talking about, right? So yeah, it's a real aha moment.
Yeah, I think some of those demos that we have up really show, the benefit. That was certainly an aha moment for me, seeing the markers in 3 dimensions and those kinds of things. That was certainly the breakover for me, for sure.
Yep. Yeah, where you can kind of look at a horizon level instead of directly straight down on something that it's there, but then as soon as you move it, it sort of lights up for you. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Let's move to the next question. It's from Lorene, if I'm saying that correctly. Are there any options for organizations like nonprofits, disaster response, schools, et cetera, to use your platform without being charged? I think I can probably take this one. So Lorene, we do have programs that do offer credits. Just as background, the way our service is offered, you set up just a billing account with a credit card and some information, so that as your usage is used, it's billed according to that usage. We do know that in some cases, such as disaster response, or some high volume incidents that might be happening where the map is being used, that usage can be driven up. And we want to definitely offer programs and assistance and help in those cases. So we do have what we call public programs. You can either search, just search Google for Google Maps platform public programs, or in the documentation in our docs, you can look for public programs. We have credits available through an application for nonprofits, organizations involved in crisis response and disaster relief, teaching faculty in educational settings, news media as well. There's an entire news media program where we work directly with media partners and developers in some cases as well for specific use cases. So just go on that page, on the public programs page, and you can apply for some of those programs. We've been heavily involved in helping with COVID-19 response through various programs there as well. So so please check that out. Okay, we'll move on to Rohit's question, where he asks, what are the limitations to cloud-based map styling? I took a look, and there's a lot of options there to sort through. Are there any parts of the map that aren't supported for custom styling right now? Maybe Alicia, if you can take this one.
Sure, happy to take that. Thank you, Rohit, for the question. As far as cloud-based styling, this is the first launch of this product, and we really were focusing on enabling a simple user interface, and also enabling some new features like our POI filtering and density control. As far as limitations, as compared to JSON-based styling, there are a few. I think some of you might be familiar with being able to modify styling kind of dynamically by replacing a string in the style. You can't do that right now in cloud-based styling, but and there's also a few features that don't have parity, so there's certain aspects of the map that you can't access customization for. But we are working to build on the foundation that we have, and try to give more advanced options. And we'd actually really love to hear about your use cases and feedback in the public issue tracker, because that will help inform what we focus on next.
Yeah, and awesome. I can also add as well that the amount of real world information is in Google Maps is large, and we really had to prioritize giving the best value that we can to the customers right now, and we've prioritized a few key features, like obviously cloud-based map styling, being able to make changes without pushing new code. And we also focus on other types of features that would allow you to benefit from Google Maps without knowing a lot of the details. For example, like we've had a few industry optimized map styles that you can just adopt in your style, and then we maintained changes, the improvements to these styles so that you can adopt, for example, a travel map, and let Google improve the travel map for you over time without you having to do the heavy lifting. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a great addition on the industry map styles as well. Trying to, as a team, we're really trying to look at those verticals and just, learn more about each nuance of what that industry or space might be. Learn from some of the implementations and try to, take an opinionated approach at least a starting point for people in that vertical. So.
Yeah, and to add to that, we really want to make it easy for folks to get up and running with our platform. And so, that was another focus was like, if you just need to get out of the box, set up a map for your use case, that was something we were really trying to make easy for everyone as a starting place.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, we'll move on to the next question. This comes from Harold. I saw that better support for TypeScript and Promises was finally added. Great that you noticed that, Harold. Are you working on anything else like this to make things easier for web developers? So I can take this one since a group of us have been working really closely on this in developer relations. And just to start, we're definitely looking to always improve the developer experience. I think we always try to take the approach of making your lives easier in everything that we're doing. Like Alicia just mentioned, people that are starting a map for the first time, we want to make that easy. We want web development to be easy, native development to be easy. So I think one example I'd like to point out is some open source library work we're doing to support reactive programming patterns for RxJS for web, and also on the native side for native app development, we're working on RxJava, Kotlin Flow, and Combine as well. So on the native side, so RxJS for web, just to answer your question directly, but also on the native side, RxJava, Kotlin Flow, and Combine, I should say. And just for note, you can always keep an eye on our GitHub presence for this. Repos are available on github.com/Google Maps. Kind of shortened it a little bit, so just Google Maps on GitHub. And we post on social when we have these available too. So if you watch our Twitter account on GMAPS platform, we make mention of when anything's been added there. But definitely keep an eye on /Google Maps on GitHub as well. Okay, we'll move to the next question, which is from Anna. Are there any plans to expose the OpenGL context of the map on Android, similar to what you've done with WebGL for the JS API that we've announced? Travis, did you want to take that?
Sure. Thank you again, Anna, for the question. So I think that before I directly answer the Android question, I think we want to take the time to see how this WebGL overlay work will evolve on the web. Like we've introduced this in open beta. We're looking for your feedback so we can refine and get that infrastructure to a place of general availability for JavaScript platform. But along those same lines, the lessons that we learn in that journey will definitely influence any future plans around bringing more direct access to the OpenGL context on Android or Metal on iOS forward. But like as we continue to think about having these same type of powerful experiences and capabilities across the platform, we really need to also make sure that there's a good ecosystem of graphics library support on Android and on iOS that developers can leverage so that they can more easily take advantage of the full power of these overlays, similar to the way we are partnering with 3JS to make it easier for developers to make these more impressive geospatial experiences. We want to make sure that we also try to to see the right type of relationships with other graphics libraries on Android, on iOS, so that developers can do more with the power of not just maps, but with these other libraries that are out there in the public space.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's key too that you mentioned that we're in public beta for this, so we, definitely want to hear from people as you use it, go through the docs, work on it within your own development environments, and I think hearing from you will help us influence a lot of what you're mentioning, Travis. Right?
Yes, definitely.
Great. Okay. We'll move on to the next question. Wade's asking, are there any plans to make a public roadmap available? And I'd be remiss if I didn't make a maps joke here, but we do make a public roadmap available in many types. But is there any plans to make a public product? I'm assuming it's a product roadmap available. Maybe Alicia, did you want to try to take a stab at that? And you don't have to follow it on with a bad maps joke either.
I was going to say, I think our consumer maps are a great roadmap.
Yeah.
So thank you, Wade. Thank you, Wade, for the question. I'm assuming this is a roadmap for our product. So, I mean, one of the things that's really interesting about what we're announcing at I/O is, with WebGL and some of the other things that we've been talking about, is that it opens up a lot of possibilities. And in this process, we're starting to think about a lot of different options and really trying to lean into getting customer feedback and input to help inform some of that roadmap. So. Again, this is a plug for the public issue tracker. Give us your feedback. We'd love to hear what you guys want to build and how things are going with WebGL and some of the new things that we've done. And that's a long way of saying, no, we don't have a public roadmap available at the moment, but we do want to get your feedback and have that help inform what we do next. Absolutely.
I threatened to tell some bad maps jokes before this AMA with some of my team, so I think I've slipped a little bit, but I'll stop there. I promise. Actually, I don't promise. Okay, let's go to the next question from Luis. How come tilt is limited to 67.5 degrees and sometimes less? It seems like a pretty arbitrary limitation with that number. I think maybe Travis, did you want to try to address Luis's question?
Yes, thank you for the question, Luis. So. You're all a special group, so I think I'll give a little insight underneath the hood here. So we've experimented a lot over the course of our history as Maps as a team on the amount of data and information that we send to client devices, and those limitations that you're speaking to, Luis, those are informed by a lot of experimentation and analysis over years on what are the proper constraints, and those constraints, those tilt constraints, they vary with zoom level, just to make sure that we don't send too much data to devices. We have to cover a wide variety of device types, and particularly with systems that are memory and resource constrained, we want to make sure that we don't potentially explode the amount of data that we allow by giving you more full tilt control all the way out to the horizon, where potentially you can see a lot more data than you can from more of a top-down perspective.
That makes sense. Okay. The 67.5 degree mystery has been solved. All right, let's go to Kari. Not sure if it's Carrie or Kari. I think Kari. I'm glad the vector map is finally available, so people are excited about that. But why did it take so long? Is the question. It's been used on our consumer maps, maps.google.com on the web for years. So it seems like this could have happened sooner. I will apologize, Travis, to put you on the spot a second time, but I'm thinking maybe you have the best answer for this.
Oh, it is fine. Carrie, thank you for the question. And it's true. We've on maps.google.com, we have leveraged those WebGL renderer for quite some time. when you think about when we actually first introduced the JavaScript Maps API, the landscape was very different back then, and we designed an API around the central concept of having a top-down, north-up 2D map experience, and a lot of our client overlay APIs, just a lot of our API surface has these underlying assumptions baked into them. And so as the consumer product evolved and built a full-out WebGL renderer in the browser, it took a while to really go into the guts of the JavaScript Maps API and really kind of refactor and redefine a lot of decisions that were made over the course of years. And so we really rolled up our sleeves, got under the hood of things, and cleared up the space so that we could make way to leverage this rendering library that that maps.google.com has leveraged for a while. And so now that we're here, we're able to really provide that full power to you and allow you to build experiences just as expressive, if not even more expressive than what we can do in maps.google.com. Yeah.
And I would say, for one, I'm excited about what people are going to build with this too. Genuinely excited. I think it's, you are seeing one implementation of WebGL with maps.google.com, but just to imagine the, plethora of different ways that people are going to use the functionality with the tilt and rotate and lots of really cool stuff. I think that's going to happen.
I really encourage you to take a look at the blog post around the WebGL offerings, and it has links to demos created by partners at Ubi Labs. So shout out to Ubi Labs.
Yeah.
But it really it will give you a good sense as to the new classes of experiences that you can build. And I'm not going to spoil too many things because I want you to go and look at the demos, but if you see a raptor and velociraptor in one of them, ping me. All right.
You asked for it. I'll say too, if you can find a blimp flying around fireworks, you can ping me. Find me on Twitter. Okay. So we have one more question, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to tell a joke. I'm going to tell a maps joke in particular. So I'm not even sure anyone's heard this one yet, but I'll do a couple. One, what did the place say to the reverse geocoder? Anyone? I have a question. I'm hoping you can address, or address, if I should say it right. Okay. Okay. Last one. What did the Street View say to the satellite view? Street View's a little frustrated here. You need to be more down to earth. Okay. This is also where not having a group of people to groan also doesn't land very well. But anyway, I couldn't help it. And if you go into our Adventure Dome, you can maybe hear a few more of these jokes from some of the folks that are roaming around if you ask them questions or bump into them. So make sure you go into IO Adventure and have some fun with more good jokes. I'm going to say they're good jokes. They're not bad jokes. It's never a bad joke. Okay. Maybe second last, because it looks like we might have a live question too. So I'll be quick. Does the release of WebGL overlay have any impact on deck.gl? Is the question from Alicia. And I will open the floor to whomever would like to take that question.
So I will take an initial stab at answering this. Thanks, Lucia, for the question. For those that are not familiar, deck.gl is an open source library for 3D data visualization. It's a WebGL accelerated library. Currently, if you go back to 2019, currently there is a use case where you can leverage deckgl with our raster map or just showcasing this data viz in this top-down 2D north-up base map perspective. But we are definitely in close talks with that developer community around improving the synergies between the libraries. I don't have anything directly to present here, but it's likely that there's some things that we might be able to talk about towards the end of the year.
Stay tuned for more. Okay, and one more question. I don't have a name, unfortunately, in this one, but an anonymous question for the new cloud styling. Why is it that map ID is set when the API loads and when the map loads? And I think based on you taking the map ID question earlier, Thames, I'll pass it over to you.
Yep. Yeah, I can take this one. So I think from the wording of the question, I think this means this is referring to the JavaScript API integration with cloud-based map styling. Initially, it is true that we did require specifying the map ID in both on the API load. This refers to the script tag that you need to include on your HTML page, as well as including on your individual map object itself. So yeah, initially, due to some technical constraint at the time, this was something that we started with, and that allows us to iterate quickly and get feedback from our partners. And obviously, we heard you. We heard our early customers, right? Like that, this is not intuitive, and we really took that feedback and we completely agree with it. And for this launch for IO, we have addressed this sort of limitation and removed the requirement for the map ID on the API load completely. So right now, it is entirely optional including the map IDs on API load is entirely optional.
Yeah, and I would say also go check out the docs because we did do some recent updates there to reflect that change. So hopefully it's explained well in our documentation also.
Yeah, that's actually a good chance. Also, just if you're listening into this and you're wondering, maybe you didn't hear much about cloud styling, but you did WebGL or vice versa, take a look. I think probably the easiest way is to check out GMAP's platform is our handle on Twitter that points off to some of the blog posts that Travis was mentioning and documentation. Developers cloud.google.com/maps-platform is a good starting point, and you can go off to our developer site from there. And also the feature tracker that we were talking about earlier within our docs as well. It's just a good chance to let us know how the open beta is going, interact with us there, let us know feedback. And the teams that are on this call today, take in all the feedback that we receive from those channels. We definitely want to iterate as we've made this available, and make it as good as it can be. And like I said earlier, just try and make your lives as developers a lot easier in the whole process. So, okay, so I think we've run to the end of the questions, and I promise not to tell any more bad maps jokes unless anyone wants me to. I don't know.
I think you should, Mike. Yeah, you got another one?
Okay. All right. I wasn't expecting that, Alicia. Okay, last one, I promise. This is not more or less of a Q&A here, but I once tried to settle an argument between two antipodes, but they just couldn't seem to meet halfway. All right. There's we could, if people are interested, we could just keep tweeting these out. There's an endless supply of maps jokes on the Google Maps platform team. But okay, I think we will wrap it up at this point. Want to thank Alicia, Thames, Travis for joining me today. These are great questions. We hope to really continue the conversation. I know this is a very formal way to receive and answer questions, but love to hear from you across all the channels that we've mentioned today. Please reach out to me if you want as well. Happy to answer any questions you have on Twitter. I'm Pegg there. And yeah, just want to thank everybody and hope you have a great rest of your I/O.